So this is an integrated session where we talk about Samabuddhi. We will look at Buddhi Yoga and Karma Yoga, but I will position this in a way that can be understood by all of us. So this is the logic. You see, in the original plan, we had 30 shlokas of Jnana Yoga, and then we had done 5 shlokas of Karma Yoga, and there were, I think, totally 8 shlokas in Karma Yoga, and thereafter we would have gone on to Bhakti Yoga. So the point is that there is obviously a connecting link between Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, and that is Samabuddhi and Buddhi Yoga. And that's what I realized the moment uh, Sunil said, yeah, this is becoming too much because Jnana Yoga is the wisdom part, and the Bhagavad Gita itself starts with the wisdom. Because if you look at the 30 shlokas over there, they start with shlokas selected from the second chapter, 2.12, 2.17. In fact, fair number of shlokas, about one third of the 30, or if not slightly lesser than that, are from the second chapter. Therefore, since the program, but at the same time, you find that Jnana Yoga is also spread across the entire Gita. So the Gita is not like a textbook organized around only one topic per chapter. It is a conversation where there is a thrust of the conversation in a particular direction, but Krishna will immediately jump to another topic as he sees it important in the context of the flow of the conversation. So we've done 5 shlokas of Karma Yoga last time, if you recall. And therefore, we are trying to plug in the gap by understanding how does Samabuddhi lead to Buddhi Yoga. So today we'll be doing Samabuddhi. And then that's why I have called it as one of two. So Samabuddhi we do this week. Hopefully we'll cover all the shlokas or you'll get the logic of understanding the shlokas. Then we'll do something on Buddhi Yoga, which is not emphasized very strongly by many commentators, but which some commentators have emphasized. And we as engineers will relate to this more because it's the practical aspect of the Gita. And Buddhi Yoga leads to Karma Yoga. So we've done 5 shlokas of Karma Yoga and we will get back to the flow of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. So this is a kind of digression. This goes beyond the 93 shlokas that we had planned. So we will take up, and the little images you find, green tick means we have done actually Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga through the shlokas mentioned on top. And the little discussion table icon you find below Sama Buddhi and Buddhi Yoga is indicative of the fact that we have to discuss that. With that as the opening slide, let me go to Samabuddhi itself. Now, there was a question asked by Sunil Rastogi as to how this was chosen. So, not only has it been chosen from the recurrence of Samabuddhi, it has also been chosen from the point of the balanced state of mind that is represented in the shlokas, but a majority of them have Sama. But thereafter, it has also been further subdivided and classified into definitions. So, there are definitions of Samabuddhi that we can derive. Then how to attain Samabuddhi, some of the shlokas give you the methodology of attaining. So that's where the practical aspect comes in. Then Krishna gives his own example as someone who has got Samabuddhi. Then there is a very abstract statement which is like an Upanishad in terms of what it states, but it is a overarching principle that we can appreciate and understand. Then once again, this basic principle of samatvam, samatvam is balance. It's again given in a very, very capsule form. And finally, if you have reached Samabuddhi, what would be some of the things that you would be able to demonstrate, or what would be your goal? So we are trying to move from definition to goal in the overall concept flow within Samabuddhi itself. And all this, so towards the end, so coming back to the logic explained here, if you reach the constituent of the goal of Samatvam, which is the last point here, you would flow towards Buddhi Yoga quite naturally, and we will see how that connection is made. And thereafter, that enables you to be firmly grounded in Karma Yoga. So that's the concept flow from abstract to practical through the concept of Samabuddhi. Therefore, let us take up, and this is the detailing of the Samabuddhi concept. So we have definitions through 10 shlokas, methodology through 6 shlokas. Krishna's example is 1 shloka. Basic Upanishadic truth is 1 shloka. principle of samatvam in integrated capsule form is one shloka, and there are 5 shlokas in the whole logic. So we'll see how much of this we can cover. So I will, so run through it fairly quickly, but then of course we still have time. It's not that. So let's look at 5.18. We have done this earlier. You would recall that we did it as a part of Jnana Yoga. But here, what are we saying? Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Gramane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapakecha Pandita Samadarshinaha. So there is one concept of balance, a definition is when you're able to see all these elements of the material world, understanding that there is an Atma behind all of them and don't get derailed by the form that you see. So it, of course, looks at one extreme, which is, the Brahman, the Vidya Vinaya Sampanna Brahman, and at the other end, as I said, Shwapake is one who eats dog food. So that's a term which was used to represent someone with an extremely unclean lifestyle and someone whom you may regard as a hippie. So the hippie also was taken in by Swami Prabhupada of ISKCON, and therefore he exemplified this equality of vision. So vision in seeing other people, that is one of the definitions. So if you have this, if you can understand this, it is one definition. Sabko Samadarshi se dekhna. Samadarshinaha is the key word here. Now let's go to 6.8. 6.8 is what, again, I think we may have done this, I'm not sure. Jnana Vijnana Trupta Atma Kutastu Vijitendriya Yukta Ityuchate Yogi Sama Loshtashma Kanchana. So what does this say? Let's look at the Anvaya. Jnana Vijnana Trupta Atma, who is satisfied with Jnana and Vijnana. His Atma is Kutastaha, ekdam tranquil and stable. Vijita Indriya. So he has conquered his senses, and therefore, as a consequence of that, Sama Loshta Ashma Kanchana. So Sama with balanced. Again, what does he do? Regard. Okay, so regard is slightly more than seeing. But these are all definitions, and we can play around with the Sanskrit words or the English words, but the essence is Loshta Ashma Kanchana. So Loshta is mud, Ashma is stone, and Kanchana is gold. So here we are looking at the material world in the sense purely non-living. The previous one was living creatures, and you look at them in a balanced way. Here the definition extends to you are able to look at a stone, mud, and gold also equally. So that's the second definition that we have of Samabuddhi. Now let's go to 6.9. Then again, see, here we had a classification in terms of this is a varied classification of both the humans as well as the animal kingdom. But now we come to a pure human definition. So what's the human definition? Suhrin Mitra Yudasina Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhushu Sadhushvapi cha Papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishyate. So Suhrit, jo hamara Suhrit hai, who's a friend of ours, Suhrit is benefactor, uska hriday hamare liye acha hai. Mitra, we understand Mitra. Ari is enemy. Udasina, one who's neutral. Madhyastha, who's indifferent. Dveshya, who obviously thinks evil of us. Bandhushu, who's a relationship. Sadhushu, who's a pure person. Papeshu, someone who commits a lot of papa. So when you look at all these human categories, human behaviors with Samabuddhi, then you are Vishishyate, you are special, you are excellent. So we have a third definition of Samabuddhi in terms of the behavior patterns of human beings that you have to regard equally. So again, it adds to the richness of the entire concept. So let's go to 6.29 and let us see. Sarvabhutas tathatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshana. So this seems to be a kind of logical conclusion, so to speak, though course, it is flowing in the sixth chapter. It may not have any connection, but at least in the flow of the concepts of Samabuddhi, we have seen Samadarshinaha, we have seen obviously regarding the material equally and regarding different categories of human beings. Therefore, you could conclude that you are a Yoga Yukta. I'm reading the Anvaya. Yoga Yukta Atma. You are integrated with the Atma within you, Sarvatra Samadarshana. And therefore, you are able to view the entire material world, the non-material world, the different kinds of good and bad human beings with Samadarshana. And further, what you can do is Atmanam Sarvabhutastam Sarvabhutani Cha Atmani. So you are able to see Atmanam, you are able to see your Atma in the other creatures, and you can see their Atma within you. So therefore, this builds a further element to the understanding of Samabuddhi, saying that the causative factor of you seeing at least the living creatures equally, which is the human beings of different behavior patterns, as well as human beings come animals of different categories, is because you understand that what do you understand? Atmanam sarvabhutastam, my Atma, or that Amsha of divine energy is the same in other bhutas, other creatures, as their Atma is the same as mine. So building one more layer of understanding to the concept. Let's go to 12.15. I think at this rate we'll finish actually very fast. But then I think the idea is to have a broader discussion behind this. So can I stop here for a discussion, or are you okay? Let me complete the definitional shlokas first, and then we'll have a discussion. I think that would make more sense. Okay. So let's go to 12.15. And what does this say? Yasmano dujate loka no dujate chaya, harsha bhayo dveigir mukto yah sacha me priya. So here the word sama is not there, but then there is a kind of definition through a behavior pattern. So yasmat lokah na udvijate. So he by whom the world is not, you are not troubling the world, like Ravana kept troubling the world. Yah cha lokatna udvijate, and who is not troubled by the world. So there is a kind of balance in the way you deal with the world. The word sama is implicit here, though not explicit here. Cha, harsha, amarsha. So happiness and sadness. Bhaya, udvege, mukta. So udvege is the agitation caused by harsha or amarsha, which is unhappiness. Bhaya, your mukta of the agitation caused by that. Such a may priya. So you are dear to Lord Krishna, is what we are trying to say here. So therefore, one more dimension to so you can see that either it is a particularization or it's a generalization. That is how these definitions flow. They are at different levels of comprehension. You can have a generalized statement from where you can draw a particular, or you can have a particular statement from where you can generalize. So purely in terms of modern psychology, this is balancing between inductive thinking and deductive thinking. Inductive thinking, is from a particular incident to generalize, and deductive thinking is from a generalization to step down to analytical thinking. So that's what is happening here. So we are finding this constant shift between, and therefore we find this to be a little more comprehensible, because what all we did in 5.18, 6.8, 6.9, 6.29 is kind of being summarized, because you see the material elements are there in the world. And therefore, the first statement, Yasma no vijate loko, loka no vijate chaya. Neither does the world, and the world consists of living and non-living, neither does that bother you, nor are you bothered by them. So it's a two-way process, and it encompasses all that we said in the shlokas 5.18, 6.8, 6.9, 6.29 so far, and this is 12.15. Now let's go further in our definitional understanding to 12.18. So what is 12.18? So we have our favorite word here, sama. So sama shatrau cha mitre cha tatha manapa manayo shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samah sangha vivarjitah. So we have obviously elements of the world, and again relationships. So we had encountered the Shatru and Mitra concept. We are also, so there is a little twist here. We have Man and Apman. So in the previous one, we had Harsha and Amarsha. And here we simply had a broad statement. And here we had the different categories of human beings. And here we had, the material world. I'm going back and forth so that we can see how each shloka adds a little more meaning. And here we had obviously a combination of human and animal creatures here. So coming to 12.18, a further addition of the weather is there, Shita Ushna, okay, the environment. So often we complain in summer it is too hot, then we complain in winter it is too cold. There is no particular climate where we are happy, right? Either it's too hot or it's too cold or it's too rainy or it is too foggy. So if you are constantly complaining about the weather, then we definitely do not have samabuddhi. So this adds the element of weather, if I may say. Of course, this may not be the way in which the commentators talk about it, because Shita and Ushna in their estimation is bad and good and something like that. But these are basically opposites, and this opposite, in the context of the flow of the concepts we have, 5.18 to 12.18, we can look at this as the weather being something where you are balanced. So of course, we have our friends out there in Noida and in Lucknow who are facing the cold, and we seem to be fairly not facing the cold here. But then if I come to Lucknow or if I come to Noida, if I keep complaining about the weather there, then I don't have samabuddhi as far as the weather is concerned. So with that, let's move to 13.27. Of course, you will find that if you were to check your Bhagavad Gita's 13th chapter, there's always a plus and minus in the shlokas, because some texts take the additional shloka to be the first one. So the serial number counting moves up by one count. So you need to identify this shloka. So what does this shloka say? Again, we have our favorite word, samam. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatya vinashyantam yah pashyati sapashyati. So further adding a element of understanding to samadarshana, samabuddhi, samatvam is samam sarveshu bhuteshu. So we spoke earlier about, let me just tell you, where did we speak that? We spoke it here. Yoga Yukto, we had that statement. Yoga Yukta Atma. So you are identifying your Atma with the Atma in the other living beings and their Atma and yours. So we have here a build-up of that in 13.27. So what does the shloka say? Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. So the Paramatma is sitting equally in all the living creatures. So this gives you the reason why you should have samadarshana or samabuddhi, because if the basic element is the same, if the basic core is the same, then on what basis do you differentiate? And it is when you differentiate that you have someone who's a mitra, someone who's a shatru, someone who's a suhrit, or someone who's a shwapake, or someone who is whatever categories, or something is a stone, something is mud, something is gold. But when you realize that all of them are expressions of Paramatma or Parameshwara, then obviously you're able to see very correctly, and you're also able to see vinashyasya avinishyantam. So see, all these bodies are nashwar, as we know, and that's in Hindi. But we see the Sanatana Atma within the nashwar Sharira, then only we see. So Yah Pashyati Sapashyati comes to the concept of saying that we truly have Samadarshana, we truly see. So in typical training programs, we speak about some differences in the way we use our senses. So we say You can hear somebody or you can listen to somebody. We understand listening is to use your mind, or we say that you can see something or you can notice something. So when you notice something, it is a higher order of actually understanding also. So here, yes. So here we are looking at यह पश्यति स
Vishwaroop,
पश्यति.
Vishwaroop,
Yeah.
Vishwaroop, can you mute your mic, please? Mic mute कर दे. नहीं नहीं कोई नहीं.
Okay, okay, that's fine. Thank you so much. So that is when you truly see. So यह पश्यति स पश्यति means he who notices is the one who actually notices, because you're using your understanding to notice something, and therefore you have that samadarshana within you. Now we go to 13.28. Samam pashyan hi sarvatra samavasthitam ishwaram na hinasyat smanatmanam tato yati paramgate. So what does this say? He sarvatra samavasthitam samam ishwaram pashyan. So again, building on the same concept, perceiving the equal Lord as a spiritual inhabitant in all forces. Na hinasti, he does not injure, right? So we had that na hinasti param gatim yati. He does not injure other creatures, and therefore he becomes a param gatim. He is able to attain a higher level of understanding. So again, it builds on the fact that if you're able to realize the presence of Ishvara in everything else, then how can you harm somebody? Because it's like harming your own self when you are actually trying to harm somebody. Again, building on the concept one by one. I think we have two more shlokas here, and then we'll pause for a discussion because this has to be discussed as we move further on. Let me go to 14.24. So here we have again, the same statement. Sama dukkha sukham swastha, samaloshtasma kanchana. So our mud, stone, and gold have made their reappearance here. Sama dukkha and sukha, that we understand. Swastaha is same. Swa astaha, it is balanced. Okay. Tulya, priya, priyo. So we have now a very interesting word to describe samadarshana. Tulya. You are able to do the tulna and balance the priya and apriya. Right? And you are also able to balance what? Ninda and stuti, samstuti. Right? So when you do that, then you are a dhira. You are someone with great courage, and you are also said to be above the three gunas. Now, how does he say above the three gunas? Swastha, sama, dukkha, samaloshtasma, kanchana, dhira, tulya, apriya, tulya, ninda, atma, samstuti. So I think the interpretation of atma samstuti is to go beyond the gunas, though it does not seem to be that very accurate. But nevertheless, I think we got the logic. So we will be ending in the next 10 minutes, but okay, that's only for the recording. Now let's go to 14.25. Again, we find the same logic. Mana pamanayos tulyas tulyo mittadapakshayo. So now you are fairly familiar with the words that are being used for samabuddhi. Sarva ramba parityagi gunatita sochyo. So gunatita they picked up from here. So that's fine. 14.24 and 14.25 are adjacent to each other. So that's where so man apman. What do we do? Tulya. Tulyo, what do you do? Mitra and Aripakshayo. So he who is your enemy and he who is your friend, you treat them, you balance your view. Sarva Ramba Parityagi Sa Gunadita Sochate. So this is a kind of concluding statement in the context of the flow of the conversation in the 14th chapter, but may not actually logically connect, with the definitions that we have of Samabuddhi. So before I go, so what we have done is we have done definitions, but before we go into methodology of attaining, I think it makes sense to stop the share and to sort of seek out a discussion, because we have done far more shlokas in one book than we have ever done before, and therefore I thought that we should stop for a discussion.
My question is there.
Okay, your question. Okay, so let me just look at it. Okay. The concept of God seems to be weaved into every shloka of the Gita. Is there a better way of telling the concept of God to atheists of the generation? Yeah, so we can speak of God to atheists as the energy that runs the world, that the energy that's there behind petrol, the energy that is there behind the rays of the sun, are all probably in their own estimate just natural manifestations. But when we pursue the science behind them, at some point in time, scientists cannot explain. They may have explanations up to a certain point, but when they get to the nuclear aspects of matter, they find that the observer is impacting the observation, which means that if I am observing nuclear phenomena, then when I seek to measure the wave-like characteristic, it appears like a particle. When I want to appear to be measuring the particle-like behavior, it appears to be a wave. So in other words, material is being affected by the observer, and there is a deep integration between observer and object.
Rajshekhar,
So whether you choose to call that as God, now
Just
the
a minute.
question is whether you call it as God. Yeah, go ahead, Sunil.
Actually, what happens is when things like these Priya to Krishna and Bhakti Yug, these kind of things come, so sometimes it is felt that probably somebody is asking us to switch off our mind and then submit ourselves. So in that case, it looks little impractical. And whatever is being told in all these slokas is the ultimate kind of aim. The practical part of seems to be missing. Because whatever we are talking is कि ये संभाव होना चाहिए, but संभाव actually हो नहीं सकता है. तो वो और जिस तरह के टर्म्स यूज किए जा रहे हैं उन चीजों में तो डेफिनेटली नहीं हो सकता है. फॉर एग्जांपल मित्र और शत्रु में संभाव प्रैक्टिकली संभव नहीं है, बिकॉज हमारी ह्यूमन इंस्टिंक्ट इस तरह से डेवलप हुई है. तो इस तरह की चीज हम मतलब बार बार कहकर और फिर उसको तभी कृष्ण को प्रिय लगेगा ये सोचना, तब फिर हम लोग और थोड़ा सा अपना माइंड को स्विच ऑफ करने के लिए कहा जा रहा है ऐसा लगता है.
Yeah, that can be one interpretation, which is why, see, the whole hassle with the Gita is this, that ideally we should read the Gita from first shloka teams, because then you understand the context of the shloka. So when we do a kind of subject-wise categorization like this,
Okay.
the full context of the shloka is not understood, because it is not like multiple laws. I mean, we are trying to create a logic of the shlokas, but sometimes you can create, sometimes it doesn't work out. And therefore, truly to understand the Gita, now Professor B. Krishnamurti, he would have read the Gita many times to realize that these are all capable of being put in a bucket. Okay. But coming to the very natural observation you have that look, Krishna is saying submit to me and all that, probably that is understood better in the context of the shloka itself, in the flow in the chapter that we pick up the shloka from. Okay. So therefore it calls for a certain mature mind that should not jump to immediate conclusions. So when we have a Bhagavad Gita shloka where there is something that is not digestible to me and my philosophy, Krishna says, "Bhai, tum mere chamcha bano," then we need to park that objection that we have mentally, right? So you see, the issue is that modern society wants resolution of the issue here and now. Otherwise, I will not proceed further. So that's psychology. But we keep it aside for some time, and then we resolution. Because there is one thing, if the Gita says something very emphatically, it may say something with you have to pick up what you like and begin. It is not about, even if you pick up one element of any one shloka, which is non-objectionable to you, it does you good. That voice is echoing, is it? So you may find some shlokas
it is
not
actually breaking
compatible.
down. Voice is actually breaking down. We are not able to hear your full sentence.
So
Internet is perhaps interrupting there.
yeah, so I'm going
Bandwidth
to
is-
exit. I'm going to join in again. Just
Okay.
1 minute.
Okay. So
Yeah.
then we have to also join again because you are the host.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, welcome.
So are you able to hear me better now?
Yeah, yeah.
Now it's okay.
Hello?
Hello?
It is good now.
Okay. Okay.
So you continue. I think we'll switch off our videos. That will improve the speed.
Yeah. So my response to sure. Okay, so I've switched off my phone and okay. So I responded to a question from Sunil Ji Gar. Now, would anyone else have a question? Rajesh?
Yeah, one question here. It is said कि हर्ष क्रोध भय और चिंता विषाद से मुक्त Vishnu is asking something.
Vishnu, please mute your phone. Sorry, sir. There's a lot of background noise. As such, Vishnu, can you mute your phone, please?
Okay, shall I put my question?
Yeah. Yes, please.
इस एक श्लोक में कहा गया है हर्ष क्रोध
Yes,
भय और
Rajesh.
चिंता विषाद से मुक्त वो प्रिय है भगवान को. तो इट अपियर्स कि ये बहुत बड़े साधु को बैलेंस आ जाता होगा, बट आम आदमी को मुश्किल लगता है. तो ये हाइपोथेटिकल लगता है कभी कभी. परहैप्स रीरीड को और इंटरप्रिटेशन से समझ में आएगा. और दूसरा, मिट्टी के ढेले और स्वर्ण में एक मूल का समझे. तो इन द रियल लाइफ इट डजंट लुक to be accurate. So how to understand it? Without that, it will not be able to follow it. These 2
Yeah.
points.
Yeah. So, okay, no problem. I understand. So
Yeah.
what we will do is, if you shlokas, do we still have an understanding from the other shlokas? So the point is that we need to have a kind of balance in our approach. So is it possible to have a balanced approach to any of the other shlokas is what we need to look at. So let me therefore put back the shlokas. So I'll share screen, and shlokas are acceptable to us. Okay, what is it that seems to be practical and what is it that is
Okay, yeah.
okay. So let's look at this. So I'm starting from the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know whether this is practical or not. Okay. Then Samaloshtasma Kanchanaha, this also does not seem to be practical. Okay. Then Mitra or Dushman ko ek saath samjho, this is not practical. Okay. Yoga Yukta Atma Sarvat Samadarshanaha, this
This
I
may
don't
be
know.
some practical.
Yeah, to a certain degree practical. Then this seems to be okay. So if we simply remove the phrase "samay priya hai," then it seems to be acceptable. Yeah.
Yes.
So where is it? Correct. Sorry. Sorry. So in this shloka, yasman no dhrite loko loka. So if you don't get upset by the world and you don't upset the world, then you are balanced. Okay. Samay priya hai, let us remove that whole concept, right? So whether you are someone who is beloved of Krishna, see, ultimately when you do right things, you are aligning yourself to divine force. So this seems to be practical. So whether we regard friend and enemy as equal or not, at least man and apman we can regard, because that's where we need mental strength. Shita and Ushna, definitely it is required for living
अनासक्त रहता.
in arid climate. So this is, practical, I would say.
Yeah, agreed. Practical.
Yeah. So then samam sarveshu tishtanda parame vinashyasya. So this is also very practical because all bodies are decaying. In fact, this is what drives doctors, right? If the doctor is looking at the fact that ye to sharir nashwan hai and he doesn't treat it at all, then he's not doing his job, right? Then ultimately you don't need doctors because sharir nashwan hai, the body have the illness, which is not the fair definition. 13.28 samam sarvat na hinasyate na hani nahi karna. This is of course Mahatma Gandhi principle, and many of us do not agree with Mahatma Gandhi principle. Sama dukha swastha, this is not practical, let us say.
This one, yeah.
Man mitra, this is not practical. So therefore, the point is, yes, if we take the, coming back to the thought process that was initiated by let me just put it back. Stop. Yeah. So coming back to the concept that we were talking about in terms of picking up what is relevant to us. So that is important because you see, if we all accepted all the 700 shlokas of the Gita, then we are like Lord Krishna. We understand everything. So the only thing is that based on our disagreement with one shloka, we should not cast aside the study of the entire Gita. This is my learning. So probably we are not mature enough to understand, or it is not something that is acceptable to our nature. हमारा एक स्वभाव होता है और वो पराभव है, हमारे जो स्वभाव के अगेंस्ट में है, तो उसको छोड़ो. बिकॉज कृष्णा डज नॉट स्पीक. कृष्णा से भाई मेरा आधा श्लोक भी पढ़ो, वो तुम्हारे लिए काफी है. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So it is not like engineering chapter that you have to read all the equations there, only then you can solve the end equation. Even one shloka of the Gita is of great value for us in our journey. That's my response to you. Probably you may say it is a weak defense, you are not defending, but anyway, that's not the idea. The idea is to understand how to approach the study of the Gita based on a little bit of our own experience and understanding. So let me turn to Sunil Rastogi.
Yeah.
जो मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ, मेरे हिसाब से we should not go by literal meaning कि ये ढेला स्वर्ण और उसमें समानता ढूंढे. मतलब whatever भी जो हम समान मतलब देखें, उनमें अगर उससे डिस्टर्ब नहीं हो, वो अच्छा ऊंचा हो नीचा हो या कहीं किसी भी उसमें हो, उससे डिस्टर्ब नहीं हो, और हमारा व्यवहार भी समान रहना चाहिए irrespective of the situation. ये मेरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है.
Yes,
we should not get
right.
disturbed
So
by
broadly it says be balanced.
Yeah, broadly it is balance. We should keep
get
our
this.
balance by
Correct.
perceiving the things and behavior
Correct.
in both the way.
Correct.
But what is the intake and what is the output, we should be balanced. We should not get disturbed by the what input information is coming, or what we are perceiving, and we should not get disturbed by that. Should get reflected in our behavior, and that should be balanced.
I think I'll extend your point in this way that the way we say to our justice system that they should see everyone, everybody in a similar fashion, और इसीलिए हम आंखों पे पट्टी बांधने वाली मूर्ति को जस्टिस का सिंबल बनाते हैं. तो मतलब वो संभाव में जस्टिफिकेशन की बात है, जस्टिफाइड. तो ऐसा मुझे फील हुआ कि हम चीज को जस्टिफाइड तरीके से देखें. Yeah, you can comment on that, Rajshekhar. Rajshekhar, are you listening? Is there audio problem at Rajshekhar's end? Yeah, I think he is rejoining.
Sorry, I just fell off. So I hope you're able to hear me now.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. So we have to also be balanced in the midst of this unstable internet regime that we have. Okay. So Rajesh and Sunil, and I think we have Vishwaroop. So Vishwaroop, what are your thoughts?
Actually, I again repeat what I was telling in the last meeting also. Sri Chaitanya Dev said you have to raise your level to the infinity. Then only you can attain the equanimity. Because when you have your thoughts in line with godly thoughts, that is, ahimsa is one of the best ways to align yourself to godly thoughts. Because that is the way you are paying respect to others' sentiments, others' souls also. So that's how you can slowly grow your thinking to a higher level, where these small things, like you were just saying, Rajshekhar, though I was traveling, I was just listening to whatever you were saying. What I understood was you were trying to actually say that you have to have equanimity. There'll be a lot of distractions, anger. You will not like a lot of things, but you have to raise your level to a level that is through ahimsa, through jap, or through chanting a mantra. This is the way probably I think we can raise our level.
Yeah, I would agree. Yes, I would agree with you. So these are all maybe ideals given to us. This is what we need to go to at some point in time. Whether we are actually able to reach there now is a matter of our maturity. So the more spiritually mature you are, then you'll be able to regard everybody. So the fact that we say it's impractical is an indication that our spiritual maturity is not enough. That is all it says. And it points to the fact that we need to do our sadhana, mantra japa, or whatever, ahimsa, whatever that we believe is a sadhana relevant to our swabhava, we need to do that. Then we will rise to the level. So it is like saying that these definitions are giving you a role model level. And
Raj, I just want to add another thing.
Sure.
You were just talking of this Om, chanting of
Yes.
Om.
Yes.
That also raises your mental level also. That is also one of the ways of raising your mental, because you are not in your, you are a human being. You cannot have a level higher than what you have immediately, because you are doing a lot of pop. So you have to actually come out of this emotions, anger, pride, and that you can live. So you have to have different methods to raise your level. Maybe doing mantra, thinking of God in a particular time, like you are getting up at 3:30. That's the best time to elevate your soul. But that is not possible. Everybody cannot practice it. So that becomes difficult for everyone. But slowly we need to know what others are doing, and maybe learn the spiritual process from others. Maybe whatever we can do, we have to move up.
Yeah, so I think responding to, yes, you're very right in what you said. I think responding to the primary question,
video call
to the primary question put both by Rajesh and by Sunil ji, The fact that Samabuddhi occurs so frequently means it's an important trait for us to aspire to. And therefore, that is one element that we can work on, and we could have, uh, you know, milestones on the way. So I may not be at the level where I regard, mud and stone and gold as equal. But then if, I'm not bothered about what is the gold price today, to that extent, I have been able to, you know, or if I say, Akshay Tritiya hai, kitne aur gram kharidu main, when you already have enough gold. So those are the ways we begin actually. So we need to begin from where we are. Yes, Sunil, you
Rajshekar,
wanted to say
we
something?
have
Yes.
Dhirendra also with us. Let us involve him. Welcome, Dhirendra.
Yes, Dhirendra, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here and your thoughts on what we've done so
And
far.
his name meaning itself indicate that Dhir and Indra. So what we were just now talking.
Yeah, धीरों का इंद्र है ये.
Yeah. So Dhirendra, you can ask something if you want. What happened? His audio went off.
Okay, let's move ahead.
Okay, then we can move ahead.
Oh, so shall I move on now? So we've had a discussion around the definition. So let's look at, further understanding what we have, because we have about 40 minutes time and we can therefore go ahead with our understanding. Okay, so we were here at 14.25 and we have done the definition. So this kind of summarizes, we have done the definition, so that's there in green. And let's look at how to attain this, because this is only a concept. So we look at probably some practical action. Let us see how practical it is and have a debate around that. So the shlokas that we have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shlokas. So what are these 6 shlokas? Again, somewhat very similar. Sukha dukhe samay kritva labha labho jaya jayo tatho yuddha yujyase nenum pap. Right? So this is giving a practical sort of bend, because it says go and fight. It is not simply describing a characteristic. It says you be equal in sukha and dukkha, same kritva, you be equal in labha and alabha, and you will be equal in jaya and ajaya. Tatho yuddhai ujjose nainam. Then you will not incur any sin. So it is giving you a directive, and therefore we are calling it to be a part of the methodology of attaining. Of course, the first half of the shloka is very much linked to the previous half, but from definition to a certain action directive is what we have here. So when you go, so probably my takeaway from this is whenever I go to do my work, I need to keep alive in my mind the fact that I should be balanced. And if I can do that, then I would have implemented the definitions that have been given to me and would have probably done my work with less karma bandhan, because you must all realize that all this leads to good karma yoga, and karma yoga is being balanced. So we have, everywhere, wherever you say sukha and dukkha, we see karma yoga is particularly with reference to labha and alabha, jaya jayo. When we say that, do not be bothered about the results of work, we are basically saying labha and alabha. So it is, so sama buddhi is tied to, at least these two aspects are tied to karma yoga. That's what we can logically deduct. So make grief and happiness, loss and gain, victory and defeat equal, and then start your battle so that you will not incur any sin. So that's 2.38. Let's look at 2.56. Dukhesh vanudvigna gamaha anudvigna manaha sukeshu vigataspruha vita raga bhaya krodha stita dhir muriruchyate. So 2.56 to 2.72, these are, 2.55 actually, to 2.72 are the 18 shlokas that are the most important shlokas in terms of defining a person with a sthira buddhi, sthita pragya, sthira buddhi, samadarshana. So very, very similar in terms of the meaning. So what does this shloka say? So dukheshu anudvigna manaha. Your mind is not bothered by dukkha. Sukheshu vigataspraha. Your mind is not attached to sukha. Then Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha. You are beyond like and dislike, or you are able to cross over. Now it's not that you have eliminated all your likes and dislikes 100%, but at least you can tackle it. See, the point is, even if you tackle it, you are on the path of evolving yourself. So we don't begin something because we seem to be totally put off by the difficulty of the task. But what this is, start somewhere. When you start somewhere, you will be able to reach one level higher than where you are. So we have elements Sukheshu, Dukheshu, Sukheshu, Raga, Bhaya, Krodha. Then when you are able to get rid of this, then you can implement it, right? So there's a thin line between definition and implementation, as we see. Let's look at 4.22. So here, of course, I think we have one more definition or one more methodology. Yadricha labha santushto dvandhatito matsara sama siddhava siddho cha kritvapi na nibadhyate. So yadricha, whatever comes to you, jo aata hai wo theek hai, usse aap santusht hain. Dvand atit hain. So all this business of being above labha and alabha, jaya and ajaya, apaman and man and apaman, they are all asking you to be dvanda atita, beyond the dvanda, beyond the duality. Vimatsara. Vimatsara is you are not jealous of anyone because you say, bhai tune kiya, maine kiya, kya farak hai? Of course, that does not happen in politics, but definitely it's a principle that, in fact, it does happen in one sense, because you find that Vajpayee was someone, he may be a very fierce political rival of yours, but he had a lot of friends across the entire political divide because he was not jealous of somebody being in the Congress, or he was not jealous. So that's a great quality that we have in Vajpayee, which people related to very well. And of course, Siddho Asiddho cha Samakritva. So we have a directive here, Samakritva, make it equal. And therefore, it is a methodology of attaining. So that was only saying that this is what happens. This is giving you a verb, an action verb, which is why it's a part of methodology. But concept, you can see, is very, very similar. And that's why it's all being bundled together under Samabuddhi. Let's look at 6.30. So what does this say? Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha na pranashyati. So this takes it a little further. He says, Yah sarvatra mam pashyati. He who sees God everywhere. Samam cha mai pashyati, and sees me everywhere and sees all in me. To him, I am neither lost nor does he get lost in me. Obviously, because if you are God and you are a part of God, I am a part of God, then God is not lost anywhere because he is there everywhere. And this, of course, takes the principle to the level that could be objected to if your primary approach is atheistic. So I don't want to see God everywhere. You can see God everywhere if you want. So therefore, this is one of those shlokas which talks about Samabuddhi, but may not be acceptable totally to an atheistic audience. Let's look at 6.32. This is a very, very strong shloka. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukkham sa yogi paramamatha. So here we say, hey Arjun, dukkham va yadi va sukham saha atma upamanyena sarvatra samam pashyati. So, if you feel the sukha and dukkha of the other person as your sukha and dukkha, then you are truly a yogi. So this is the very, very original definition of emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is the basis of all good human relationships. If you feel what the other person feels, if you understand what the other person feels, then obviously it becomes a springboard of being a Samadarshana. And though modern behavioral psychologists do not describe emotional intelligence as Samadarshana, they say that you are able to feel and understand the emotion of others. Therefore, it becomes an important way to understand the whole concept and implementing it. So emotional intelligence, there are tens and thousands of programs on emotional intelligence that people do so that they can feel the balance. So your emotion is like my emotion, and therefore when I understand that, I understand you better. Then let's come to the last shloka of the methods of attaining or methodology. Now, Maitra Karuna Evacha, Nirmamo Nirahankara, Sama Dukkha Sukakshami. So we find our favorite friend, Sama Dukkha Sukha, which will appear. So, Adveshta, you do not have enmity. Maitra, Adveshta, you don't hate anybody. And the additional quality or are important for us. Nirma, you are not having I mind. Nirahankara, you are not full of ahankara. And you are kshami, you are able to forgive people. So kshami, nirahankaraha, nirmamaha, karunaha. These are all some additional qualities of someone who obviously is able to see things with balance. Because obviously, when you see things only from your perspective all the time, how can you feel badly for the other person? How can you feel the dukkha of the other person? So it is going beyond the sukha, dukkha of your own, but understanding the sukha and dukkha of the others very well. And that truly, so unless you go beyond your own sukha and dukkha, otherwise you'll be caught up in your own sukha and dukkha. So how can you have emotional intelligence if you're caught in only your own intelligence? भाई मेरा मन ये कहता है कि मैं यहाँ फंसा हूँ, वहाँ फंसा हूँ. Then how will you understand the other person is equally caught up? So the practical outcome of Samadarshana is that your emotional intelligence becomes very high. And therefore, that is the step that we would all perhaps agree. Whether we believe in God or not is a different matter. But we would definitely accept that for our relationships to be good, it would be appropriate to have a high degree of emotional quotient, EQ, as they say. So I'm going to stop the share now because we've done the methodology of attainment. And of course, we have Krishna's example. We have 3 more shlokas and we have 6, 5, 6 shlokas in the last one. So let me stop the share and let us take up for discussion these shlokas that we have done as the methodology for attaining Samabuddhi. I mean, you may say that there's no difference at all, but I leave it to you to put forward your comment. Let me check whether there's anything in chat. No, there isn't. So
this process of attainment seems to be similar points as the first section actually.
yeah, so it is a thin line between one and the other. It just depends on whether you take the karta, that is the verb form, as more active. Otherwise, it can as well be bundled in the first one.
But I took out 5 points there actually from 5 shlokas of attainment methods. One is to move on to your karma. That is the first point. But if you have sambhav, you can move on to your karma. Then you have to be sthit prag. That means mature enough for settled understanding. Then third point is not bound. That means detached sort of thing. That is one property. And then fourth point is seeing God everywhere, means that some whatever bhoot, that means some creation you are seeing must have been created by somebody. So that's why you have to respect that thing. And then the fifth point is related to emotional intelligence, or we can say empathy towards everything. And the sixth point is this क्षमा करने वाला अगर हम होंगे, ये अटेनमेंट का प्रोसेस लगता है कि अगर हमारे अंदर क्षमा करने की क्षमता होगी तो प्रॉब्ली हम समभाव कर पा रहे हैं. So these are the 6 points I drew from the 6 shlokas. That's how I can say that that's the method of attaining it.
Yes. So I think you are now talking the language of the Gita. Wonderful.
No, he has summarized very well.
नहीं, because कुछ फायदा तो होना चाहिए ना, इतने दिनों से पढ़ रहे हैं.
नहीं बहुत
हम बनिए भाई, फायदा ढूंढते हैं ना.
No, he's actually summarized very well.
नहीं, फायदा तो सभी ढूंढते हैं, मगर सही रास्ते पे पहुंचना ये बहुत अच्छी बात है.
तो इसलिए
आप बिल्कुल सही रास्ते पे पहुंच गए.
इनके जो ओम मंत्र की बात थी उसको भी थोड़ा अप्लाई कर रहे हैं, तो थोड़ा थोड़ा समझ में आ रहा है.
It is actually wonderful.
मतलब कुछ सेल्फ में चेंज हो रहा है, 2 महीने के अंदर कुछ चेंज मिल रहा है हमें, अपने सेल्फ में भी मिल रहा है.
बिल्कुल मिलेगा सर, क्योंकि जो भी मेरे जो बैच के स्टूडेंट्स हैं, सब लोग कहते हैं कि कुछ ना कुछ चेंज है. So isme there is no doubt at all that some change will happen because we are not. See, I am not talking as Rajshekhar. मैं बड़े लोगों की बातों को आपको पहुंचा रहा हूँ. तो जो बड़े लोग हैं उनके शब्दों में बहुत पावर है. तो इसलिए वही जो है शब्द मैं आपको जो है तोते की तरह बता रहा हूँ तो उसका असर होगा. I have got no doubt about that, but absolutely no doubt that you will appreciate and enjoy. So let me now turn to Dhirendra, because with such a powerful name, he has not spoken one word in the discussion. So Dhirendra, we will not proceed further till you contribute to the discussion.
Actually, I was listening your audio. I have just set it, and now I am listening you. Hello.
Hello, yeah, we can hear you, sir. We can hear
Are you
you.
hearing? I was not listening your audio.
Oh, I see. So you're not able to.
I was just looking your video. I have just
Oh, I
set up
see.
it again, and now I'm able to hear you.
Okay, okay. So let me ask a question based on what you saw, because you saw the slides, right? So
Yes,
do you
yes,
have any
okay.
questions? Yes. So do you have any questions on the slides?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Acha, just one thing, Dhirendra, have you joined the Practical Gita Gyan channel so that you can see the previous conversations?
I have seen already.
Acha, very good.
I've already downloaded them,
Okay,
and I have seen all the episodes.
excellent.
Wonderful.
So
Wonderful.
that means
So-
keep joining
so-
now, so you will be finding the right kind of continuity there.
Thank you.
Correct. So if you can keep joining on Sunday, I mean, today is 1.5 hours because I have a larger number of shlokas.
I used to come here, किंतु ये possible हो नहीं पाता है मेरे लिए Sunday को भी कई बार. अभी भी मैं ऑफिस में बैठा हुआ हूँ. Just I am sitting in my office.
Okay.
Oh, I
मैं
see.
आप लोगों से बात कर रहा हूँ.
तो ठीक है सर, आप जो है महान कर्मयोगी हैं, and we salute you. You are doing your karma on a Sunday.
मैं आपके YouTube देखता हूँ. Regularly I am looking at YouTube.
Okay. So any other points of discussion from Rajesh or from Sunil Rastogi?
Yeah, one point in 4.22 it is said the person who is satisfied, he is not bound by. So he is unbound by what? And one more thing, in today's presentation, comments were not included. Perhaps a large number of slokas have to be covered. That's why the comments were not there. There's 2 points only. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good.
Actually, to be honest with you, I wanted to put the comments also, which I will do now because उसके लिए बहुत time लग जाता है. Took a lot of time, but for the sake of reference, what I will do is, because if you simply read the shloka or if you're going back to these slides for reference, it does not help you. So it is my intention to put the comment, but since there were so many of them, I was not. In fact, I finished the last 5 shlokas. Yeah. So point taken.
Got it.
Yeah, no hassle. In fact, it is every time we create a slide, I myself learn, what is the connection between the shlokas. So it is mutual learning that we are in. So I will do that homework, and you must check the slide across the week, and we will have the slide intact. Let me turn to Sunil Rastogi because he commented.
No, I have nothing. No, I have nothing to add at this stage.
Okay. Right.
I have something to say on Rajesh's question.
Yes.
Rajesh was saying that 4.22, how is bound related? See, I have observed during my lifetime and during my whatever jobs I was doing. So whenever we act, we feel attached to those actions. So here Gita is telling you to remain detached even when you are acting. You are acting for certain causes. For example, you are doing your job. Sometimes we are too much attached to those things. और उस वजह से क्या होता है, अल्टीमेटली हमको डिफिकल्टी होती है, हम परेशानी होती है और स्ट्रेस होता है ज्यादा अटैचमेंट से. तो नॉट बाउंड इवन व्हेन एक्ट्स, जब हम कुछ एक्शन लेते हैं तभी भी हमें बाउंड नहीं होना है. आई थिंक आई एम ऑन द राइट ट्रैक ऑन दैट. राजशेखर, यू कैन करेक्ट मी.
No, you're perfectly on the right track, sir. आप तो सर देखिए ऐसा है कि हम सभी लोग जो है कर्मयोगी हैं, छुपे रुस्तम हैं. We don't speak of this. See, if we have survived a career of 40 years, we definitely have all elements of karma yoga within us, because we are all, sane people now. We are not in mental asylum. There are a lot of people who, by the time they finish their career, they go to mental asylum. No? तो भाई हमें समबुद्धि है, सब कुछ है. we don't articulate it the way it has been articulated in the Gita. So let's be very clear that all of us, we have been through our engineering, we have been through career, we have children, शादी कराया है, पोते पोती होंगे, as the case may be, and therefore we have all this. The only thing that Gita does, it sharpens your understanding. तो जो भी आपकी जो समझ है, जो आपका जो practical experience है, उसको एक shape देता है, and the shape is able to give you further direction. That is all. तो इसका base जो है सब में बना हुआ है. So let us not assume that only one person knows the Gita and the other person. All of you know equal Gita in terms of experience. उसको एक shape देना, is the job of all this.
शब्द है ना राजशेखर, ये कृत्वापि न निबध्यते, ये ऐसे शब्द है जो सामने लिखकर लगाने चाहिए, क्योंकि इसमें वास्तव में ऐसा अक्सर होता है, और मेरे साथ अक्सर ये हुआ ही करता है कि जब किसी काम को करते हैं तो उससे इतने ज्यादा अटैच्ड फील करने लग जाते हैं कि मतलब फिर और सब दुनिया बेकार लगने लग जाती है फॉर दैट फेज ऑफ टाइम. तो मतलब उससे थोड़ा डिटैचमेंट सीखना भी जरूरी है, वरना वो एक्शन डेफिनेटली स्ट्रेस देता है.
In fact, if I may add to you, there is one session that a particular individual does. He says, he calls it Bhagavad Gita for product management. Okay. So what he says is, the product has to keep evolving. If you get totally attached to one product, then you will not be able to create the new features required.
Yes.
So इसके लिए एक श्लोक है second chapter का, वासांसी जीर्णानि यथा विहाय नवानि घृणाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीरानि विहाय जीर्णान अन्यानि सम्याति नवानि देवी. Though it is very long, what it means is, जैसे हम अब जो है पुराने कपड़े उतार के नए कपड़े पहनते हैं, उसी प्रकार से आत्मा जो है एक शरीर को छोड़ के दूसरे में जाती है. So this shloka he takes to mean कि आपके बॉडी में चेंज हो रहा है, आपके प्रोडक्ट में भी चेंज होना चाहिए. अगर आप पुराने प्रोडक्ट को दफना के नया प्रोडक्ट नहीं लेके आओगे तो आपकी कंपनी चौपट हो जाएगी. So of course this is a little flexibility of interpretation, but nevertheless the logic is very, very clear.
Yeah. और एक फेमस किताब भी है इस पर, Who Moved My Cheese. I hope.
Yeah, Who Moved My Cheese, correct. 100%.
वो चेंज को प्रमोट करती है कि चेंज होते रहना चाहिए और आगे बढ़ते रहना चाहिए. With the story of two little mice that has been explained, but and वो चूहे जो है अपना जहाँ पर चीज रखा हुआ है उसको देखने के लिए कुछ रुक जाते हैं और एक नहीं रुकता है और वो नई जगह ढूंढने की तलाश में चल पड़ता है. तो बेसिकली हम लोगों को नया खोजते रहने की जरूरत है. और ये प्रॉब्लम हमारे साथ, मैं अपनी लाइफ टाइम में देखता हूँ कि कई बार बहुत सारी चीजों से जो हमने काम किए उससे इतना अटैचमेंट हो गया कि उससे डिटैच होने में तकलीफ हुई, पर वो तकलीफ नहीं होनी चाहिए थी, यही अब सीख रहे हैं.
Correct, absolutely. In fact, given the fact that we are all from Allahabad and we have been through our 4 years together, see, you spoke about cheese, no? So if you keep on saying wo cheese badi hai mast sit there. Then it does not help us to grow, right? So, and it suddenly struck me as something that we can remember.
Yes,
so
ये लाइटर नोट में रिकॉर्ड होना चाहिए था.
बिल्कुल. So let me now take it further. Let me share screen once again and let me look at the next few shlokas. Let us see whether we can complete this. Okay. So now we have to look at Krishna's own example. So if Krishna is giving so much gyan about Samabuddhi, what was he doing? So he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyah ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya mai te teshu chapyaham aham sarva bhuteshu samah. So I am equal in all existence. It is not that I have given more to Shankaracharya and given less to In fact, to anyone who's a badmash, I will not name the badmashes in our own batch because it is now 40 years, and to hold that still image is not correct. But you know who the badmashes were in our own batch. So, aham sarveshu bhuteshu samaha. Name dveshyasti na priya. So this is Lord Krishna's own description of himself, which is I am equally present in all beings. I have no special like or dislike. So it is just your sadhana that enables me. This is like a boss speaking. तू जैसा काम करेगा मैं तो equal हूँ. Who is to be praised will be praised, and who is not to be praised will be told that you need to do a better job. So he says further, ye tu maam bhaktya bhajanti. So people who obviously praise me in this way, te mai aham api teshu. मैं भी उनके अंदर हूँ और वो भी मेरे अंदर है. So the second part of the statement may be a very, very bhakti yoga kind of statement, but the first one is a definition of a very good manager, correct? Saying that भाई आप सब लोग मेरे employee हैं, ना तो मेरे लिए कोई प्रिय है ना कोई अप्रिय है, आप काम करो उसके हिसाब से मैं आपको रिवॉर्ड दूंगा. चाहे आप पिछले साल में आपकी रेटिंग खराब हो, अगर आपने इस साल जो है अच्छा काम किया तो आपकी रेटिंग अच्छी होगी. Like that. So that's Krishna's own example. So we'll not stop for a discussion here. We will move because we can do 2-3 shlokas, and then so we've done Krishna's own example. Then let's do the next two, and then we will look at basic Upanishadic truth. What is this? So this is a shloka that I don't think we have done. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavi Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmevatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhi. So this case, जब हम हवन करते हैं तो हम ही तो वही ब्रह्म जो है अर्पण है, वही ब्रह्म जो है हवि है, वही ब्रह्म जो है अग्नि है, बोलने वाला ब्रह्म है, वो कर्म जो है ब्रह्म है, जाने का रास्ता ब्रह्म है, माने everything, this is of course very, very abstract level, and we cannot look at any practicality, but this is representing one very universal truth कि हर जगह जो है सिर्फ ब्रह्म ही ब्रह्म है. ब्रह्म not in the sense of confusion, but the Brahma, Brahman hai, or that is the whole logic where everything is being led by this. And then we have this principle of Samatvan in capsule form. So what is the principle? Sarveshu yenekam bhavam avyama ikshate avibhaktam vibhakteshu tad jnanam vidi satvikam. So yena vibhakteshu sarva bhuteshu ekam. So the samam comes in the word ekam, avyayam, अविभक्तम. सम अगर हम विभक्ति नहीं करते, उसका विभाजन नहीं करते तो अविभक्तम है. सो एकम है, अविभक्तम है, उस भाव से हम ईक्षते देखते हैं. माने one who is able to see the ekam, the unity, the avyam, the indestructibility, the avibhaktam, the unbreakability, because तू ये है, तू वो है, ऐसा अलग अलग से नहीं देखते. Tat Jnanam Satvikam. So that's called Satvika Jnanam. And of course, we are looking at the principle of Samatvam, which is basically Yena Vibhakteshu Sarva. Therefore, looking at the meaning in Hindi, जिस ज्ञान के द्वारा मनुष्य समस्त भूतों में एक अविनाशी सत्य को और इन समस्त विभक्त पदार्थों में एकतम अविभक्त समग्र को देखता है, उस ज्ञान को सात्विक ज्ञान माना जाता है. So essentially, a unified vision is a vision that does not see separateness, does not see Loshta and Ashma and Kanchana and Mitra and Ripu and Jaya or Ajay. So, so you're able to look at things with a certain degree of balance. तो आपने जो है वर्ल्ड को कैटेगराइज नहीं किया है, आपने वर्ल्ड को डिवाइड नहीं किया है, आप जो है एक लेवल से आप वर्ल्ड को एक फंडामेंटल तौर से देख रहे हैं कि भाई सब लोग जीव हैं, सब लोग अपना एवोल्यूशन में कर रहे हैं. चाइना वाले को आके लासा के लद्दाख के बॉर्डर में ऐसा धूम मचाने से ही उसको जो है सैटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है. करने दो, हम भी अपना काम करेंगे. वी विल नॉट अलाउ देम इनसाइड. So something like that is what I would say to be the principle behind the entire Samatvam concept. So what we've done is we've done 3 things. Krishna's example, basic Upanishadic truth, and principle of Samatvam. So this is principle of Samatvam. This is basic Upanishadic truth, and this is Krishna's example. So with that, I will stop the share, and we are in fact at 1:05 now. So we can have a discussion, and then we will take up the last part of the presentation next week, and then we can have a one hour session. This was slightly longer. So open to questions. So questions. So Dhirendra, I think you heard me this time. So hopefully we'll have questions from you.
ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट है कि हम लोग समभाव में रह सकें. It is very very difficult, and we need much practice कि हम लोग सम रह सकें. यही इसमें अचीव करना है हम लोगों को. यही मेरी समझ में आता है बस.
Correct. Because at the end of life तो कोई भाव ही नहीं रहता ना, तो संभाव you have to try to get when you're living. Right? So therefore, challenge for all.
तभी तक समभाव देखना है, उसके आगे तो रहना ही नहीं है.
Correct. Absolutely, absolutely. Let me turn to Sunil ji for his thoughts.
Actually, ये first part में मैं I've been observing few words like ज्ञानी, योगी, श्रेष्ठ, गुणातीत. So अगर in some of your further sessions you can explain the difference or similarities between these kind of words. ज्ञानी, योगी, श्रेष्ठ.
Okay. Actually, okay, ज्ञानी, योगी, श्रेष्ठ. तो मैं क्या करता हूँ सर, एक मिनट, मैं उसके लिए एक किताब निकालता हूँ.
That's good. You have a vast collection of Gita related. You have a full Gita related library.
हाँ बिल्कुल सर. तो जो योगी है, that has been used in no less than 40 different meanings.
Okay.
Depending upon the context, right? तो योग का फंडामेंटल संस्कृत रूट मीनिंग है जोड़ना. अब हम कर्म को जोड़ें, भक्ति को जोड़ें, ज्ञान को जोड़ें, डिपेंड्स अपॉन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट. सो दैट इज योग, राइट. देन श्रेष्ठ, श्रेष्ठ माने जिसने भी योग में कुछ सफलता पाया है, आप श्रेष्ठ हैं. क्योंकि आप कर्म योग में आपने सफलता पाया है, आप श्रेष्ठ हैं, या भक्ति योग में. सो श्रेष्ठ इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द ऑर्डिनरी. तो मान लीजिए आप एक लेवल पे हैं, योग शुरू करने के टाइम में आपने कर्म योग किया, या भक्ति योग किया, या अभ्यास योग किया, वैराग्य योग किया, कुछ भी आपने योग किया, वो तो साधन है, साधना है, साधन है. और साधना के अंत में आप, अगर आपने साधना जो है सही प्रकार से आपने निभाया है, उसमें निष्ठा है आपकी, तो आप श्रेष्ठ माने जाएंगे. So this is the meaning of श्रेष्ठ. Now you use the term अतीत, right? गुणातीत.
गुणातीत.
तो हाँ, तो गुणातीत का मतलब है, देखिए दो अतीत होते हैं. अतीत तो आप जानते हैं हिंदी में इज टू गो बियॉन्ड. अब जो है कौन से चीजें हैं जिसके बियॉन्ड जाना चाहिए. एक तो भय, क्रोध, काम, क्रोध, ये सब इसके बियॉन्ड जाना चाहिए. एक तो ये हो गया. फिर एक जो है द्वंद्वातीत हो गया. द्वंद्व मीनिंग जय, अजय, लाभ, अलाभ, सुख, दुख. तो ये एक कैटेगराइजेशन है जिसके बियॉन्ड जाना चाहिए. जो जिसको, जैसे अगर आप श्रेष्ठ हैं तो श्रेष्ठ के लेवल पे अतीत भी है. श्रेष्ठ में हमने कुछ क्वालिटीज रखे, यहाँ पे हम कुछ और, इट्स अ डिफरेंट कैटेगराइजेशन ऑफ क्वालिटीज. तो एक तो द्वंद्व अतीत हो गया, एक तो अतीत हो गया माने जो आपके षड रिपु हैं, जैसे काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मोह, मद, मात्सर्य, इनको षड रिपु कहा जाता है. तो इसके बियॉन्ड आप चले गए. और एक जो फाइनल कैटेगरी है उसको गुणातीत बोलते हैं. तो जो आपका सत्व है, रज है और तम है, इसका भी अगर आपने जो है मास्टरी किया है. देखिए हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग तम से लेके रज को जा सकते हैं, रज से सत्व को जा सकते हैं, लेकिन सत्व को पार करके गुणातीत होना तो बहुत ऊंची बात है. तो फॉर अस आप यूं समझिए कि हमने अपने सारे तामसिक गुणों को जो है बांध के रखा है, उसको कम किया है, और आप रज में चले गए. रज में जाने के बाद आपने उसको भी बांध के रखा है, सत्व में चले गए. तो दिस इज ए फेयर अमाउंट ऑफ प्रोग्रेस इन आवर लाइफ. गुणातीत तो नहीं बन पाएंगे, लेकिन कम से कम सात्विक तो बन पाएंगे ना. क्योंकि आपने एक डेफिनेशन होगा कि समत्वम का एक सात्विक डेफिनेशन दिया हुआ है ना, ये जो है सत्व ज्ञान है. तो वहां तक पहुंचने में भी आपको यू विल नीड अ फेयर अमाउंट ऑफ samabuddhi to be sattvic also. तो ये सब kind of interrelated हैं और एक जो है feeds into the other, and therefore मान लीजिए कि अगर आप गीता पढ़ते रहेंगे तो आपका एक लाइफ का एक जो है गोल बन जाता है कि हम भाई आखिर इतना पढ़ रहे हैं, अगर हमको ढोंगी नहीं होना है तो कम से कम कुछ तो इम्प्लीमेंट करेंगे ना. देन ओनली यू विल हैव द करेज टू स्पीक टू अदर्स. अगर आप सिर्फ जो है मुंह में राम बगल में छुरी, ऑफ कोर्स दैट्स एन एक्सट्रीम एग्जांपल, अगर आप सिर्फ गीता बोलते रहे और अगर आपने उसका कुछ किया नहीं तो आफ्टर सम टाइम यू विल नॉट फील लाइक सेइंग ना, क्योंकि आखिर अगर आपने उसको इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं किया तो आपको भी अलग अच्छा नहीं लगेगा कि आप किसी और को जो है प्रचार कर रहे हैं और आप खुद नहीं कर रहे हैं. ऑफ कोर्स once you are able to cross that, then you can become like Asaram and all the other people, because for them it does not matter कि वो implement कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे हैं. But if you are a sensible human being, आप कहेंगे भाई कम से कम मैं थोड़ा तो implement करूं ताकि मैं और लोगों को जितना मुझे समझ में आया, जो मुझे समझ में नहीं आया वो किताबों से लेके present करना. So that is the whole logic of what we are doing here. So anyway, that's just the personal angle that I brought in, to explain the matter. But thank you. Yes, sir. So we are at 1:14 now, just 1 minute left. So quick thoughts and reactions to today's session.
Thank you so much for sharing such a wide knowledge. And only thing, we are one step ahead. We are knowing at least. Now the part is on our implementation. Unless we know, we cannot implement. So
Correct.
one step ahead.
आज वैलेंटाइन डे है तो मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है उससे रिलेटेड. क्या हमारे स्क्रिप्चर्स में कोई प्रेम योग की भी बात की गई है?
जी आपने क्या कहा?
हमारे
वैलेंटाइन डे है.
हमारे स्क्रिप्चर्स में कोई प्रेम योग की भी बात की गई है क्या कहीं?
अरे बिल्कुल
तबीयत से गले मिलिए.
बगैर प्रेम के तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता यार. अब ये वैलेंटाइन से प्रेम करना है या किससे करना है, ये अलग बात है.
नहीं, इनफैक्ट द एंटायर रस क्रीडा एंड कृष्णा गोपी जो आपका जो गीत गोविंद है, जो आपने सुना होगा कि जयदेव ने कंपोज किया था, वो तो ओरिजिनल वैलेंटाइंस डे है सर. वो वैलेंटाइन का बाप है.
वहां तो 16,108 थी.
Absolutely. So therefore India is way ahead in every sphere. तो जो ये आपने लोग हिंदुत्व वाले लोग बोलते हैं वैलेंटाइन इज नॉट इंडियन, उन्होंने रस क्रीड़ा पढ़ा ही नहीं. एंड एक्चुअली समवन वाज सेइंग, एक जो है एक पुराण है जिसमें आई थिंक I can't recall the name. I will tell you. It is not the regular, it is पुराण है वो, जिसमें डिस्क्रिप्शन इतना ग्राफिक है कि आपको लगेगा कि आप जो हैं कोई मॉडर्न रीडिंग पढ़ रहे हैं. तो उसको लेके अपने वेस्टर्नर्स जो हैं बनाते हैं और कहते हैं कि वो ओरिजिनल हैं. बट India is the mother of all knowledge, including Valentine's and including Kama Yoga and including everything. So that's it. Okay, sir. Thank you so much, everybody, for your patience. आपने 1.5 घंटा जो है काफी टाइम आपको दिया है.
क्या अगले टर्न पे भी 1.5 घंटा होगा?
अगले संडे 1 घंटे का होगा.
अगले संडे
we'll have it at 12:15. Yeah, same. This is I wanted to cover so many shlokas in one go. Therefore, I did it like this. So with that, thank you very much and look forward to meeting you next Sunday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.